Hey folks, this is Ben Yessel. How's it going? I wanted to mention a few things that I've been thinking about today. And so this is kind of we'll just see where we go here. It's a little bit hard to, well, it's a little bit hard to sleep when you have a few thoughts going on in your mind. The first thought I have is that, as it, as you can probably guess, I'm not worried about my YouTube channel. I'm not worried about it at all. Um, there's a lot of people that talk about um, all these things that make a YouTube channel grow and make it better and all this stuff. That's so fine and good, but it just you know, um, there are things I know that I could do to probably bring in a lot more views, but the question is, do I really want to do that? And then there's also a question of, well, is it even going to be worth it monetarily? Because because I get paid so piddly, nothing nonsensical. It's like uh, I see the guys, folks. I know what I'm talking about here. I know what I'm talking about. People that have these amazing videos on YouTube, they don't get paid jack crap, and you know it is how it is, and until you can always make videos. I do want to make nicer videos for you guys with nicer equipment and all this other stuff and better camera stuff and all this stuff. It isn't necessarily the content that would change. It just is more going to be a little bit more. Oh, you know. But other than those things, there's a lot of gimmicky stuff that people do to get more views, which I'm not going to do. Anyway, it's just a big rat race, and I'm not in it, folks. I make YouTube videos for reasons that are my own. I'll make money from other sources. And I still have a plan to open up other channels. Um, and that will be when I'm good and ready. Okay, so aside from all that, I gotta tell you, folks, there's this redheaded comedian I just love to death. I love his humor. I love his humor. JP. I've been watching his stuff for a while. I'm not sure. Oh, this guy's his real names. His real name escapes me, but it's not important. Just look up comedian JP. That'll. If you haven't seen his stuff, by all means watch his stuff. Anyway, JP mentioned that there's a video that he watched, and I realize JP's, well, how can I put this? It doesn't matter if you're liberal or conservative. It really doesn't anymore. It really doesn't. Because, um, well, okay, let's jump into what I was going to mention here about this video. It's kind of like the whole video is using the word communist. All you have to do is substitute the word communist with Illuminati, and that's the funniest thing. I'm like, oh, the United States, we won in the Cold War. We beat, you know, and with this, the the author of the video was talking about how everything the United States fought in the past, right? It's like, but we've always had this thing that has been an issue with the United States in every country in the world for the most part. The Illuminati's been everywhere since World War One, right? And it had the same goals as all these totalitarian governments, whether they're fascist or communist or whatever. Well, basically, totalitarianism is total control over people. That's what it is. And yeah, I mean, I watched Edward Snowden tonight. I went on this thing, and by the way, I've deleted a whole bunch of watched later videos. And I was like, you know what? When I first started watching YouTube, it was my choice what I wanted to watch. It still is my choice, but how often do we just, oh, let's go to our what YouTube thinks we'll want to see kind of thing, right? No, I'm still in charge. I determine what I want to watch. I do. One would think, if YouTube hides videos that people put out that what they want people to see, whose fault is that? It's YouTube's fault. It's not my fault. There's no way I know. There's no way I can know how much YouTube shows my videos or why. I don't know how the algorithm works. I just know that sometimes people see my videos, sometimes they don't. I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, but that's a different subject. But this video was over an hour long, and it's just getting really late, and I had to watch the rest of it later. And my train of thought was basically this. It was like, a lot of Christians, for instance, speculate about Gog and Magog. It's going to be some countries to the north of Israel. Oh, it's Russia, or it's Kazakhstan, or something like that, right? Or it's China with its million-man army, or whatever, or more than that. Well, what if the Battle of Gog and Magog versus Israel, right? What if it's everybody, like all the governments, teaming up on Israel? And when I say Israel, I don't mean necessarily Israel as a nation as it exists right now. I mean like spiritual Israel. So like it's probably Israel plus a whole bunch of other people that but it's probably not even Israel that is necessarily the government of Israel. It's probably just the you know what I'm saying. It's going to be something where you're going to have all the governments team up against some all. You're going to basically have good versus evil at some point. That's how it's going to play out. Um, it's not going to be the Arabs versus the Jews. It's not going to be the Russians and the Chinese ganging up on, and the Persians ganging up on, Israel plus Europe plus what? No. It's not. A lot of people speculate about a World War III situation like that. No, it's not going to happen that way. I guess, and I'm reminded of this video that it's not going to happen that way. It's going to be everybody. Well, all the powerful governments in the world, all those guys, they're all going to be in the same team versus the civilians of the world that are going to stand with spiritual Israel. That's how it's going to go down. And it's not even going to be something where you're going to have military, you're going to have mutiny, right? Militaries. You're going to have people that are not going to support their government fighting, killing innocent people. You're going to have that breakdown of law and order. It's going to happen more and more and more because you're going to have governments that keep doing evil things. Not just the Chinese government, not just the Russian government, but yes, the United States, U.S. government. It's going to become public what they're doing. It's all going to be public. It's all going to be out there. Same deal with the United Kingdom, Germany, all the different nations of the world. Pretty much. And what their governments are doing that are wrong. It's all going to be out there. And they're going to want to do everything they can to keep all the crap that they've been doing secret. They're going to want to do everything they can to keep the control over the militaries, keep their soldiers in line with what they being soldiers for their country, right? You take orders, Yeah, you're gonna have a whole bunch of soldiers that are gonna, once they know what's going on, they're gonna. And you see this already with the U.S. government, or with the U.S. military. Now, people go into the U.S. military because it's a great income, right? You're set for, I'm not quite set for life, but you're you're doing okay, right? Get to see the world. I've heard all the usual perks, but everyone knows it's like everyone's asking, why are we, why, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What were we doing in Iraq? What were we doing in Afghanistan? You know, yeah. I mean, what we're doing in Libya. What are we? I mean, like, since, I don't know. Um, for a long time now. I mean, I could understand this, maybe Korean War, Vietnam War. This is getting a little sketchy, but the Middle East is small potatoes, man. Small potatoes. We all know the powerful countries over there: Iran, Turkey, and Egypt. But those guys, Saudi Arabia are on our side, but those powers, Iran, Turkey, Egypt, are insignificant still. Absolutely insignificant compared to the United States. And, the Russia-China thing, those guys are still pretty distant, seconds and thirds places. India, and then you have Western Europe. Western Europe combined is very powerful. But the United States is insanely powerful, militarily. Just laughably insanely powerful. And you know, I don't know. So again, the answer, by the way, to that question, what are we doing over here? Well, money and oil, stupid, right? Keeping all these dictators in line. If that's what's going on, and American soldiers are dying, so that the Illuminati can make an extra buck or two and keep everybody in order. Doing all the dirty work for the Illuminati. We're not threatened at home. When have we actually been threatened? North Korea is going to send a nuke to us. Really? Freaking North Korea? It has 20 million people. That's it. People are starving over there. Heck, I mean, what was Dennis Rodman went over there? Dennis Rodman. You talk to the guy. You can't even get an audience with Jinping or whatever. He's a bigwig. North Korea is small potatoes. Yeah. Small potatoes. They're not going to do crap to us. Yeah, Edward Snowden's right. He's right. JP's right. Watch Awaken with JP. It's Awaken with JP. It doesn't matter if they're conservative or liberal. When you guys hear stuff that is trying to show you how things really are, whether it's George Carlin or whether it's JP. And Alex Jones is a crazy guy, and a lot of people say he's nuts. Or he's a whatever. He's like a working with the establishment to whenever you hear this stuff, you know, you can't deny it. You cannot deny it because what they want is total power. If you had everybody in the world, all the most powerful people, all all the money, all the power, and every aspect of power, and you had them all allied to what? To the idea of total power over everyone, which is whose idea? Well, ultimately, it's Satan's idea. He's the one that's behind it. So why wouldn't they be interested in that sort of thing? Why wouldn't they be interested in more power? Of course they want more power. Of course they want to blackmail every single one of us. Of course they want us to be miserable and poor. That's what Satan wants. That's what's going on right now. It doesn't matter what government is going on in the country. On some level, if they want to play ball with everybody else in the Illuminati, they have to go along with what the Illuminati wants. Now, the Illuminati's going to be really nice to them, and they're going to hide, they're going to be deceptive, and all this stuff. You know, oh, we're not the bad guys. Whoa. You know, we thought we defeated communism. The funny thing is it has nothing to do with China or Russia or any country. When you think of communism, it's not about any group of people, of course. It's not about a nation or race. It's not. You know, and they pit us against each other. They pit black versus white. They pit Russian versus American, Chinese versus American, Indian versus Pakistani. They love to have these to get us to fight, because then that means that we're not fighting them. You know, when a leader hides, a leader of any entity, any organization, when they are not transparent, when they're not, and also when they're not, what's the word I'm looking for here? When you just feel you're not in lockstep with the leader, you're not on their same team. That's the intuition. There's something to it, and you should follow it. This Joe Biden crap, Joe Biden, just like everybody else, just like Bush, just like the Bushes, just like Clinton, right? Just like Obama, you know, they're all talking about the New World Order. We have a real chance of this New World Order, right? It didn't matter if they were Republican or Democrat. It didn't matter. Did Carter or Reagan or Trump talk about the New World Order? Yeah, Trump actually did. He tried to talk about it like it was no big deal. I don't know. We all still hope Trump was, on some level, not completely allied with them. He served their purpose, I suppose, but today I was having these conversations with these folks in China. It's amazing that they can talk on YouTube about this stuff. It seriously is amazing that the Chinese folks can see channels like Serpensa's channel. Serpensa. A British guy. That's in the United States. It's amazing they can see his stuff. It's not censored. I mean, because there's some great people from China I was talking to, but then there are also some people that, riffraff, right? But it's obvious that it wasn't just typical YouTube riffraff. It was brainwashed Chinese idiots. I know the difference. I've recognized the difference now. Talking to a lot of people that are Chinese, especially the United States, by and large, just fine, right? Talk to these brainwashed folks. You say anything. No, actually, you don't even have to say anything. They're just to come after you if they know you're American, and they're going to try to twist around everything that you're saying. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. But the worst thing about it is, it's the same deal with Democrats, Republicans. This whole stupid rhetoric about political arguing. It's pointless. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's like a distraction. It's deception. And people are being deceived. They're not seeing what's really going on. I can defend the United States all I want to, but it's not Washington D.C. I'm defending. D.C. does not have my loyalty at all. If Washington D.C. this very moment were to say, "Hey, we're drafting you," I'd say, "Screw you guys. I'm not doing anything. No way. I'm going to Canada or something." The only way I would go to the aid of my country is if there was a legitimate war that I legitimately felt, okay, I need to do this, or it would have to be, I'd have to know that the Illuminati wasn't behind it. The Illuminati runs my country, and they say the CCP, right? They say the CCP is really controlling it. You'll have a bad social credit score, whatever. If you talk bad about the Chinese government, the United States government is the good guys, right? They're the good guys. And Jackie Chan said that the United States government is much worse than the Chinese government. There's always reasons to believe that the United States government are the good guys, right? Folks, and I mentioned this before, it isn't the government. Now, the government, the Founding Fathers, Bill of Rights, liberties we think we have, we still believe we have. This is the reason why people love the United States. It's because of one of many reasons. There's many, many reasons why. But it has nothing to do with the government at all. The government is stealing money from people via all kinds of tax crap. I've gone through it. I'll probably, on some level, I suspect I'll continue to go through it. The tax system is insane. It's ridiculous. I don't want anybody moving here to the United States, especially if they're self-employed. But in Europe, is it any better? They tax people to the hilt. Do they have a better life? Maybe. But they are essentially, what essentially happens in Europe is, especially in socialist countries like Sweden, if you put all this money into the system, then you're basically going to get money back from the system, and the system will take care of you. But that essentially means that you're kind of tied to the system. Like you're bound to live there because you put so much money into the system, right? You see, that's a weird thing about taxes. I mean, we're talking, I don't know how much, but it's like it's like the Democrats' dream, right? And I've never really agreed with that, but the thing about it's not so bad if you make enough money, I suppose. But I just feel like worldwide, people, we all feel like we don't have very much power, especially right now. And what we all need to do is retake that power from government. I don't know what it's going to take, but that's what has to happen. And until that happens, and many of us are going to die, but until that happens, government's going to keep taking and taking and taking. How do you deal with a bully when you're younger? Well, you can either fight him or you can intimidate him, tell the teacher, right? How do you deal with a bully when you're an adult? Do you sue them? Do you fight them physically? I mean, like, do you embarrass them? Do you just try to ruin their life? Slander, whatever. Well, there's a lot of ways you can go about messing with somebody, but you deal with a bully, in my opinion. It just depends. It just depends. Being a human being, we have to go through a lot of crap. That's part of being human. We're not as God is yet. We're not immortal. We can get our feelings deeply hurt. Anybody can get killed by a bullet. Anybody can be shot. Anybody can be hurt by punches or kicks. It doesn't help that when we get really old, that we're going to be more vulnerable to getting beat up. But, that's one of the things about life. And so it's one thing if it's a single person is fairly easy to deal with a lot of times. Easier. When it's the government, the way to fight the government is via spreading information to everybody. And that's the way to do it. And militias and preparations and not believing the propaganda from the government. You know it's propaganda when it's from the mainstream news and they're just like, oh, it's okay, everything's okay. No, it's not okay. Do you guys feel okay? Do you honestly feel okay? I mean, does it feel like this is how things should be? Or does something feel weird? Yeah, everything feels weird right now. Everything. Nothing feels the way it ought to. I mean, in terms of the world situation. And maybe some of you guys might be feeling very happy about your lives. Everybody's at a different spot there. Some of you guys are probably miserable. Wherever you're at, though, well, it's all comparative. I'm willing to bet that most of you guys subscribers are probably doing fairly well. And those of you who aren't doing so hot, probably you're doing better than some out there that are really miserable. But these are things I like to hear from you guys. But within reason, I realize some of the stuff is kind of sensitive or whatever. But don't make any mistake. Don't mistake me, folks. I'm definitely seeing what's going on. And it's so easy to get like upset by those little turds in China. But at the same time, I'm like, oh man, you know what? But they're not. They're just gonna get thrown out like the trash by their own country if they aren't being a little loyal member of the CCP. I mean, the Chinese government treats their people like crap. So why should I treat them like crap as well? But I don't know what's going on. But life in China really sounds like it sucks. Unless your parents are amazing, unless they do well enough, and unless they can kind of make it so that the government leaves them alone. There's all these, but in a lot of countries it's like that. It's the governments, folks. It's the governments. The governments have gotten too powerful. They've gotten too comfortable. The governments, especially in the West, they're the ones behind the Illuminati. You can talk to comments below. Catch you guys later.